welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you for hitting that play button today. If you're stopping in for the very first time, my name is Chuck, and on this channel we deal with everything Corvettes. Everything from how-to videos to getting out with the vet club, going on cruises, and then car shows. Love to go to those. And then this is also going to be the very first episode of Corvettes918 Garage Talk. And what this, series is going to be about, it may be a weekly series, it may be just kind of whenever I can put them out, but I'm going to try to do it quite frequently. I'm going to try to do every week. And what these are designed for is to kind of be like, many of you guys have been on the forums. You've been, maybe you were researching something and you came across a forum and people were talking about a specific topic and you kind of read through the threads to see if it could kind of help you out with whatever your situation is. And that's what I'm going to be doing with this. It's going to be a time, I don't know how long the videos are going to last. Some of them may be 15 minutes, some of them may be 45 minutes. But this is all about you and me talking about Corvettes and talking about specific subjects. Today we're going to be talking about the different types of tires that you can go with when it comes to maybe you have a coupe or Stingray, maybe you got a Z51, maybe you've got a Grand Sport, a Z06. And so we're going to dive into those ones that I've had experience with. I've had some people that are in the community reach out to me and say, hey, Chuck, these are my thoughts on this particular tire. And one of the gentlemen had sent Brian, who's been a member of the channel here for a long time. Many of you guys have seen him if you're on Instagram. Now, if you have an Instagram account, even if you don't have an Instagram account, make sure you're following me on Instagram. We're almost to 10,000 there. That's going to allow me it opens up a bunch of other avenues, some other things I can do with Instagram, doing swipe videos, just some different things that I think are going to be really cool to be able to do. Also, that's where I'll notify you when a video comes out, because if you've been on YouTube for any amount of time, even though you may hit subscribe, hit the bell notification, you're not always notified. But if you're following me on Instagram, you will always be notified of when a new video comes out. Into YouTube, if you are brand new to the channel, I've owned 3 different Corvettes. I've owned a Z06, 2016 Z06, a 2017 Grand Sport, and then also a 2019 ZR1. And I've just placed an order for a 2019 Z06. If you have not watched that video, I'll have it linked below. You want to check that out, see what my spec is and all of that. Right now, it looks like it was originally going to be built in March. Rick Corvette Conti, a good friend of the channel, and also the gentleman I'm buying the car from, was able to pull some strings and get us to where we're going to be built the week of January 21st. So here this month, hopefully we'll have that car probably the middle of February. Hopefully the weather in Ohio is good to me. I have had some people say, Chuck, when you go to Ohio, make sure you let us know. We'd like to stop by, see the new car, meet you, and I will definitely be letting you know that once I know what day I'm going to be picking it up. Now, I know it will be on a Friday that I'll be picking it up. I'll be flying up to him on Thursday, picking it up on Friday, and then bringing it home. Also, a lot of people have asked, Chuck, why aren't you doing a museum delivery? It's actually closer than driving to Rick's place. Well, his mechanic, Chuck, is going to be doing the Course Extreme catback with the X-Pipe system on the car. And, I wanted to get that done before I got back. Course is not very far from where he's at. And that way I can just kind of break the car in and just enjoy that 7-speed all the way home. So that's why I'm doing that versus doing the museum delivery. I am hoping to hopefully get up to the bash here in April, and there'll be some more news on that as well. For today's episode, you're going to see some different pictures that will be here behind me. And the first picture is a picture of Tony's garage. Tony is in Maryland. And I met him probably about a year and a half ago. He used to live in Texas. Him and his vet club, I believe it was Lone Star Corvette Club. I'm not for sure. Tony, you can let us know down in the description or down in the comments. Beautiful Corvettes. He used to be a running back at Penn State, the Nittany Lions. You could tell he used to be a running back. The dude's built like a brick. He takes really good care of himself. That's his picture there. If you would like to have your picture. Oh, also, he works for Under Armour. And whoops, I'm sorry, I hit the mic. But yes, I do have some Under Armour gear here for the channel. And, maybe I'll be able to work with Tony in the future on maybe trying to do something with Under Armour. Maybe we can get some Corvettes918 gear made by Under Armour. So I know he had mentioned that to me, and we may look at that in the future if that's something you're excited about. You'd like to have maybe a shirt like this, but it would have, you know, my information on it. You know, definitely let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in something like that. If you want to have a picture of your car thrown up here behind me, a picture of your garage as we're talking about different things. Now, I won't be able to give every single person a shout out because I get too many of them. I've got probably 300 emails that I need to go through, grab pictures, and do different things. But if you would like to see your picture thrown up here behind me, because that's where I'm going to be sharing your cars. Once the new car comes in, if you're a follower of the channel, you know that I like to do vlogs, and usually I would share your cars at the end of the video. Well, I'm going to be sharing them here on the green screen here behind me as we're talking about everything. So enough of me gabbing on, because I can sit here and talk for who knows how long. But this is garage talk, right? I mean, that's what you do in the garage. You just talk. But I know you clicked on to hear about tires. So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw behind me here a tire rack. And tire rack's a great place to get prices on different things, and then go to, you know, maybe your local tire place, whether it's, you know, Hibden Tires, whether it's Pep Boys, whether it's TNT. My local company that I use here is Discount Tire. Great guys over there. Al and the guys always take really good care of me. They've taken care of a lot of people that have Corvettes here in the Tulsa area. But I want to talk about, you know, when you get the car, whether you have a Stingray, whether you have a Grand Sport, whether you have a Z06, if you don't have the Z07 package on the last three of those, then you're going to have what are called the standard Super Sport tires on there. And they're a tire that has a compound that's made just for Corvette by Michelin, and it's designed to get the best performance possible out of that car. Now, of course, you know, those typically, they want to say they have a 30,000 mile, you know, warranty on those, or 30,000 miles, how long they should last. They don't last 30,000 miles, y'all. They don't. I've had guys in my vet club, theirs lasted 15,000 miles. Other people lasted 10,000. It's just, you know, it depends really on how you drive the car. Are you tracking it? You know, how aggressive do you drive it when you're out on the road? You know, if you're just one of those people that just kind of get in and cruise, and you're not taking corners at 90 miles an hour or anything like that, your tires are going to last a lot longer. But it also depends on how much you travel in it, how much you get out and drive. And another huge thing is going to be how well is the balance on the wheels. And that's something that I would, your alignment, and that's something I would definitely, even if you buy a brand new Corvette, I know when I get mine here, I'm going to be doing an alignment on it, because sometimes the alignment in the factories, they're not all the best. And I will have linked below what I usually set mine at. And there's two different settings you can have them set at if you're just going to be doing, you know, mainly just city street driving, and then maybe an occasional track. There's a different camber and tow, and, you know, how you want to kind of have it aligned. And then there's one that if you're just going to go out and track it, how you would want to have it aligned. So I'll have that linked below. And you'd want to have somebody align it that's not, unless you just have a really good dealership with a mechanic that knows what he's doing. A lot of times that's not always the case. Sometimes those guys, you know, they can barely put the tires on, let alone, you know, not mess the side skirts up trying to lift it. So if you've got someone that does a great job with alignments, that's who I would recommend taking it to. I don't use the dealership for my alignments. I use someone else. And that way you can get that dialed in, because that's going to go a long ways in helping your tire life. If you haven't, I've got so many different videos. I also have linked below the video of whenever I had my tires changed out on the black Z06. I went from the Super Sports to a tire that we'll be talking about here in a minute, and that's the Continental Extreme Contact Sport tires. And you can just see how, you know, you just start seeing it down to the belt on the inner sides. And a lot of that, some of that was due to I had lowered the car. Some of it was due to I didn't go straight out and get the alignment. I took a little while to do it, and it wore it down. Because if that alignment's not right, you put on some, you know, $1,800 tires, and then, you know, 6,000 miles down the road, you're already starting to see wear really bad. So you want to make sure that gets done. So starting with the Stingray. So if you have a C7 Stingray or maybe you even have a C6 coupe, because their tires are the same sizes. They carried that over, GM did, from the C6s over into the C7s. And again, I also want to preference this because I know the hate comments will come in. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a guy like you. I'm a small business owner, but I've educated myself on some different things when it comes to tires. Plus, I have experience with some different tires. And so I want to caveat that because there are a lot of different tires you can go with. I may not even mention the tire that you use, and if that's the case, let us know in the comments, because that's what this is about, is you guys giving the feedback down there so that other people can read the comments and see, what a particular tire that maybe they're interested in that maybe I don't cover. And you can put your 2 cents about, your experience with it. And then, the different tires that I go over here are tires that I've heard about, I've seen some reviews on, and those are the ones that I'm going to go over. Now, again, when we're talking about the Stingray or the C6, you've got a lot of options. I'm going to scroll all the way down here to the bottom. I mean, it's crazy how many options you have. There's probably got to be 20 different ones, and I'm sorry if that's giving you motion sickness there. So we're going to start at the top. I don't know anything really about the Bridgestones. If you're a big Bridgestone guy, again, you may let us know, down in the description, about those. Another thing too is you'll be able to see right over here what a set of 4 it would cost you as we get through these right here towards the bottom. And so you're going to see a lot of variations in price. Now I will say this, I'm going to start right here with what comes on them, and that is going to be these right here. This is the original equipment, the Michelin Pilot Super Sport ZPs. Now, for me personally, I'm all about the ZPs, and that just simply means that they're a run flat, just simply because I've had a flat in one of my Z06 before. I ran over, matter of fact, I was doing a video and ran over a blade, and that blade got lodged up into it, and it cut it pretty good. Luckily, it wasn't in the sidewall, but it was actually in the tread. And all I remember is sitting there driving, and then immediately it started going 30, 29, 28, 27. The PSI gauge on the cluster started coming on and showing it going down. And I was like, I've got to get to a tire place. There's something wrong. I've done some damage. And so I was about, I looked on my phone, where's the closest place. I want to try to get to a discount. I was trying to see how far I was away from mine. And I was about 24 miles away. And so that just made a beeline for it. And, when I got there, I was down to about 6 PSI in the actual tire, what it was reading. But when I got there and got out and looked at it, the tire didn't look flat at all. It was protecting the rim. I didn't see, hence the run flat. So that's what they are there. Now, we're going to be going over a tire here in a little bit, I think, that is the best of both worlds, is ride comfort, noise reduction, as well as, getting that benefit of having a run flat. Now, you may or may not be a run flat type of person, but again, if you still have the original tires, you currently have the Pilot Super Sport ZPs, and that's going to be on all the, Stingrays, Grand Sport, Z51s, because there are the Z51s do have some different tires. We'll get into those here in a minute. So you'd be looking at, if you want to change those out, you lived where I lived, you're looking at about $1,200 to change those particular tires out. Again, they do say that they have 30,000. They're not going to last 30,000. But I will say, to me, those do really good in the rain. Now, you're not going to get out there and go 100 miles an hour and it's pouring down rain. But in my experience with that tire, I enjoyed the tire. It's gave me good, get good traction in the rain, different things like that, plus great performance. The Super Sport 4S, a lot of people are starting to go with that. Michelin came out with that particular one. You're looking at around, a little over $1,100 for those tires, plus, of course, install. I don't know a whole lot about the 4S because that's something that they didn't come out with on the Z06 yet, or I don't think they're going to, but I know that they have that there on the coupes, but they don't, on the Stingrays, and also, again, the C6, you can get those as well. The Pilot Sport Cup 2s, those are, where was that at? I'm sorry. I don't know if they may be further on down. But the Cup 2 tires, unless you're going to be tracking, don't mess with them. So again, you've got the 4S, Michelin Pilot Sport PS2. Again, I don't know a whole lot about that one. Looks like they've got a closeout deal on this, so evidently they're getting rid of those. I don't know. You got the, again, Toyo tires. We'll keep scrolling here. BF Goodwrench, Continental Extremes, this Extreme Contact. Now, I do have experience with that tire. It's not a run flat, but I did have those on my Z06 when I sold it, and because I wanted to kind of see how the drive was on it, and it was a really good tire. It had good traction, it had good performance, you know, going around corners, different things like that. It's just, again, it's a very popular tire. Many of you guys have told me that you have it on your car, and that's what you put on it instead of the Super Sports. It's just the only thing for me is that wasn't a run flat. So again, that's just kind of the, you know, these tires and these wheels, they're expensive. You don't want to mess up your brakes, different things like that, because you get caught somewhere, and these are not the best of cars to have towed somewhere. Even if you have a tow, you know, hook on the front of it, it's just you want to try to prevent having to have it, you know, put on a flatbed or something like that because your tire is just down. So again, yeah, the Continentals they're good tires. Cooper tires, I know just in the past having them, those have always been good. The Goodyear Eagle F1s, I know they've put the Goodyear on the ZL1 1LE package. A lot of people have said that those are great tires as well. So I'm not going to go through every single tire on here because there's a ton of them. But I do want to go over this one right here. It's called the Michelin Pilot Sport AS3 Plus, and that's an ultra performance all-season tire. Heard a lot of great comments on this particular tire. Now, there is a gentleman that's, again, I talked about Brian earlier. I'm going to be showing a video here behind me, as well as you know, some pictures of that tire that he has after a few track days. Now, you'll be able to tell on the corners of them, anytime you do a track day, these are, I don't think these were his dedicated track tires. I just think he had them on there because he lives up in the Pennsylvania area. And this, you know, they get a lot of cold temperatures up there, snow, different things, which I doubt he's out driving the snow, but maybe he is. But you'll see on the edge that there is some marbling that happens on that, just because when you're taking those corners, different things like that, you are going to marble up the edges of that. It even happened on me when I did the autocrosses. I could tell that it will chew up the tires a little bit. And if you're going to be really out doing some tracking, then you're going to be going through, you know, you're going to be going through some tires. Well, this is a really inexpensive way to get that performance, but also have, you know, more traction for that weathering, more if you're going to be doing a daily driving in your Corvette, which a lot of people do. That's, I think, a big misnomer that a lot of people don't realize how many people actually daily drive their Corvette. A lot of people do. If you daily drive, post in the comment that you do daily drive. But I think that's going to be a great tire because you can get that particular one on all the Corvettes. You can get them on the Z06, the Grand Sport, the ZR1. That is, I think, the way to go when it comes to that, because it is a run flat. So not only does it have the insulation value inside of it that helps with the road noise. Brian was telling me it's a real quiet, smooth ride. He was very happy with the tires. I don't know if those are his new go-to, but he's had the Cup 2s, the Super Sports, and now he's got the Pilot Sport AS3 Plus ZP. Now, you can get that exact same tire, as you'll see right down here, in a non-ZP or a non-run flat. And you'll see that it does save you a couple $100, you know, $175. Go with the run flats, I think, when it comes to that. And then you've got, I know Michelin, yeah, these right down here. Now, if you live up north and you have just horrible weather and, you know, you do drive your Corvette quite a bit, the new Pilot Alpine PA4s, man, look at the tread on those things. I mean, that is a dedicated performance winter snow tire. And they're relatively, you know, inexpensive. So you may go with this particular tire versus the one that we just talked about, simply because it's going to be a true winter tire that you could put on. And then maybe in the summertime, you know, you could go with, you know, if you wanted to do the Michelin Sport tire, the Sport AS, if you wanted to do that one, the Pilot Sport. So again, some guys put their cars up, they don't drive it at all during the winter, but if you are one of those people that get out and drive, that looks like that's a great tire. Moving on to the Z51 portion of the Stingray, and that would be if you have the dry sump system, you've got the little bit better, well, not better, but it's more of a tight suspension for tracking. It's going to have a little bit of a different performance to it, the tune and so forth on how it's done. Now, if you have that, you do have to pick. You don't have near as many options, which I think is good, but you still have all of the great options. Of course, the Pilot Super Sport ZPs, which what it came with. You've also got the Pilot Sport 4S, which again, I've heard a lot of great things about that particular tire. You do have the, let me get down here too. There's a Pilot Sport AS3 ZP. Again, I think that's probably going to be the tire for me once my Super Sports are done with. Once I get my new Corvette, once they're done, I think I'm going to go to this one just because of, again, not only the feedback I got from Brian, but just, you know, the reviews and things that I'm seeing on here. And you're talking about a tire that's $500 cheaper than the Super Sports. Now, if you're going to do a bunch of tracking, again, I highly recommend that you go with what comes on the car, because that's the compound that's best for getting the best results on the track. But I think this Pilot Super Sport AS3 is going to give you a great drive comfortability. It's also going to give you great performance. And then, you know, if you get caught in the rain, things like that. Plus, they do hold, when it comes to the Super Sports, the biggest thing too is, you know, temperature. You know, once you get to that 40-degree mark or less, you know, you got to start being careful with those tires, because let's say you went somewhere and you got, you know, stuck, you had to park the car outside and it got down into the teens, it got down to 20 degrees. You know, they recommend that you get those tires back indoors without putting a whole lot of stress on them, and allow them to come up to that 40-degree temperature over a 24-hour period before you get out there and start trying to take off in it, because if not, those things can come apart. They don't do well in the cold weather at all. So again, that's where I would highly recommend, if you live in a really cold climate area, these Pilot Super Sport AS3s I think are the way to go, because you're going to not only get, you know, you're going to get a little bit better performance in the colder weather, even though, you know, that tire you got to be careful with as well. It's not until you get into the Alpines that those things are really made to be outdoors for a long extended period of time. Again, you can get that in the ZP. You can also get it in the Alpine, like I mentioned, and then also the non-run flat as well. So you can kind of see the difference in prices there. The Michelin, the Alpine, for you guys that are out there out there driving the snow, you're looking at $1,400 versus, you know, the AS, which is going to be, you know, $1,150. So that's going to be on the Stingray, the Z51 package there. Now, once you get into the Z06, the Grand Sport, and the ZR1, your options really shrink down. Now, again, that's what's on here, but you've got the Continental Extreme Sport, which, again, I've had those. I thought it was a great tire. Again, it just wasn't a run flat, which I'm not comfortable in having. Though you're looking at around $1,300 for those. And then you got the ones that it comes with, the Pilot Super Sport ZPs, $1,800. You know, those aren't cheap. So again, I think the only people that should be buying those tires are people that are going to be tracking their cars. Cup 2s, unless you're Bear 127 and you're living at the track, these aren't going to be the tires for you either. And now, you know, again, if you're ordering a Corvette and you want that Z07 package and you want the aero and you want all those things, you can get that car without these Cup 2 tires. Definitely make sure you watch the video of me ordering mine. That's what I did. So again, I would order any Corvette without the Cup 2s. They're not worth having. Then you also have the option of the Pilot Alpine. Again, that's going to be for you guys that are out in the, you know, colder areas and maybe you want to drive it more often. So it's performance, winter and snow. You're looking at $1,372. That's a really good price. You're talking, again, $500 less. You've got the ultra high performance all season, the Pilot Sport AS3 ZPs. Again, those are going to be your run flats, $1,371. So $1,371 minus what? Was it $1,800? $1,838. So you're saving $500. You're basically saving $500 if you go with the Michelin Pilot Sport, and you're going to get that great performance, and then you're going to get that, you know, all season type tire. and then great drivability because they now have those insulated with that foam, so that way you don't get very much road noise from those at all. And especially with the magnetic ride control that you're going to have on your Grand Sport or your Z51 or the Z06. And I know, I'm trying to think. I think somebody let me know in the comment if you have a base Stingray, if those come with, and Rick, you can let us know as well, do all Corvettes come with magnetic ride? I was thinking they don't. I was thinking the very base model doesn't have mag ride, but maybe I'm wrong. But the magnetic ride control along with these tires can definitely change how your Corvette drives. And especially if you're doing a lot of cruising. You're with a vet club and that's all you guys do is get out and have a great time in those. So you can't get that one in the ZP. It looks like you can't get that in a non-run flat. Maybe you can, it's just not on their website. So that's a really good option, selection, if you've got a Grand Sport or a Z06 or a Z01. I think with the Continental, I think unless you're just a Continental person, I think the Continental Extreme Context, put the name on that. I don't think you go with that tire. I think the best tire now is going to be the Pilot Sport AS3 ZP, because you're going to get that great ride, you're going to get the great all-season performance, and then you're also going to get it in a run flat. So I think that's definitely, again, that's going to be my go-to tire. This tire you guys are seeing up right here behind me right now, that will be my go-to tire, because I'm not a track guy, and if I happen to get out there on it, this right here, you can do it on it, because we just saw some pictures of Brian having that exact same tire out on the track, and he said it did really well. He actually did a track day. It was raining, and he said, I don't recommend you doing it, but I'd already gotten there and wanted to get the drive time, and the track was open, so he went at it and said the tire did really well. He felt control of the car, and now I'm sure he wasn't pushing as hard as he normally would, but yeah, Tire Rack, again, this isn't sponsored by anybody, but I have purchased tires from the Tire Rack. They do a great job. They'll send it to you, free shipping, anything over $50. And then they'll even give you a list of companies that you can go to, and they'll install them for you. But again, I know that if you go to Discount Tire will match the prices that you see on here, and a lot of times they may even be cheaper. And then, of course, whatever their install is, $20 a tire or whatever the case may be. But again, I highly recommend anytime you put on some new tires that you get it balanced. And at least try to do a balancing if you're driving the car at least every 6-8 months. If you're driving aggressively, if you're going on trips, because we all, run over something, hit something. It seems like, whether it's a truck tire that comes shredded off of a 18-wheeler or something, and, you caught some of it, or, whatever happens, you're going to run into things when you're out there driving. And, if something gets alignment off or something, it'll go through those tires quick. So if you're driving it, which I highly, highly recommend that you drive your Corvette. These cars, guys, they're not, guys and ladies, because there's a lot of ladies that own these cars too. These cars aren't meant to sit in your garage unless it's, snowing outside and it's wintertime. These cars are meant to get out and drive, get out to enjoy. A lot, when I go to car shows and I'm walking around getting footage of different cars, one thing I'm always looking at? I'm always looking at the front of people's cars. Whether they have a PPF on it, whether they have ceramic coating, maybe they just wax their car. You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for rock chips. I'm looking for just some damage on the front of the car. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that guy or that lady gets out and drives that car. And, this isn't a car that, we ought to be proud of, that we've only got 700 miles on it. We shouldn't be proud that, hey, I've had this car for 3 years and I've got 1,500 miles on it. All that means, it just means you haven't enjoyed the car. And that's what we all should do, when you buy these. I bought my ZR1, I drove it, I had it for about 6 months, and I had 5,000 miles on it. And I drove it as often as I possibly could. All my cars have always had a lot of miles on them. Compared to the average Corvette owner, which only puts about 3,000 miles on his Corvette a year. You stop and think about that. 3,000 miles a year. You're making ridiculous payments on it, or you paid cash for it and you spent good money. Get out and drive it. Don't worry about, rock chip on the mirror. Don't worry about a rock chip. You know why? Because when you go to sell that car, if you sell it, whenever you sell it, whenever you get rid of it, trade it in, whatever, it's not going to matter. It's not going to affect the value of that car to an extent that you need to not drive it. Don't be thinking about your resale value. Just think about, hey, I've got this car now. I'm going to go out and enjoy it. So that ends the first episode of Corvettes 918 Garage Talk. I want to thank you for stopping by. I know this was a long video, but again, I just want to, in these particular ones, bring up subjects and different things that you send in, topics. And then also I'm going to be doing some of these where they're just question and answer, where you guys can submit questions, and I'm just going to go through a list of questions that I get here through email or on Instagram. And, I'll try to answer it the best I can. But again, I'm not the be-all. I don't know everything. Believe me, I know this much, really, when it comes to a whole lot of stuff. So definitely leave in the comments. Be active. This is what this is about, is you dropping comments down there what your favorite tire is. What tires have you had bad experiences with? Which tires have you enjoyed? But again, I thank you for stopping by. I can't wait to get the new Corvette and get started making some vlogs with it. How-to videos. We're going to be changing out a bunch. We're going to be changing out a lot of aesthetic stuff on that car. I'm not a real big modder when it comes to, I'm not interested in Pro Chargers. I'm not interested in a car that goes, 1,200 horsepower. It's just not. It's not. I love having horsepower, but I don't chase it that way because I've always said in the past, there's always going to be somebody faster than you. There's always going to be somebody that's going to blow by you, even though you think you've got the best Corvette in the world. But your Corvette, you make it the way you want to, build it the way you want to, and enjoy it. And that's always going to be my banner here, is drive your Corvette. But guys, until I see you at the next video, I hope each and every one of you have a blessed rest of your week, and we'll see you at the next one.